centimeter. Okay, again we are using the same formula. Okay, this is the formula, or this is the expression used to find coefficient of permeability for falling head test or variable head test. So let us write down the data. Okay, the first data given is the permeability. Falling head test is to be performed on a soil sample whose permeability is about 3 into 10 raised to minus 5 centimeter per second. So what is the diameter of the standpipe? What diameter of the standpipe should be used? So we should find the diameter of the standpipe. We don't know what is the diameter. Next, for the head, what diameter of standpipe should be used if the head is to drop from, okay, initially the head was 27.5 centimeter and it dropped to 20 centimeter. Okay, and it does so in how much time? T is equal to 5 minutes. 5 minutes is equal to 300 seconds. So time taken is 300 seconds or 5 minutes. Next, the cross-sectional area of the sample is directly given. It is 15 centimeter square. So 15 square centimeter. The length of the sample is also given directly. It is 8.5 centimeter. Length of the sample is denoted as L and it is 15 centimeter. Sorry, 8.5 centimeter. Okay, so this is the first part of the question. You have to find D. Okay, so if you substitute all the values in this equation, okay, we'll get K is 3 into 10 raised to minus 5. Which is equal to 2.303 into small a is not given and capital L is 8.5 centimeter. Capital A is 15. It is given directly this time. And T is 300 seconds. We are substituting it in seconds because the coefficient of permeability is given in terms of seconds. So it is 300 seconds. Next, we have log of log to the base 10 of H1 by H2. Now H1 is 27.5 centimeter and H2 is 20 centimeter. So please substitute, simplify, and find the value of A. And then subsequently find the value of D. So what is the value of A? That is cross-section area of the standpipe.
0.04.
Okay, Omkar is saying 0.04. Anyone? Anyone else has
0.05. 0.05.
0.05. Okay, it is exactly 0.05 or it is 0.04948.
0.049, sir.
So you can round it off to 0.05. And all the lengths are in centimeter, so area will be in centimeter square. So please find the diameter.
0.25.
0.25. Centimeter. 0.25 centimeter is 25 mm. Next, we'll move to the second part of the problem. So in the second part of the problem also you have to do the same thing. Will it take same time? So we have to find time for the head to drop from 37.7 to 30 centimeter. So rest all the values remain same. That is, K is going to remain same. T is, we have to find T. This area and length will remain same. We have to find T. H1 is given. H1 is 37.7 centimeter and H2 is 30 centimeter. And area of the standpipe we already have here. A is equal to 0.05 centimeter square or square centimeter. So you have to substitute all the values in this equation and find the value of T. So if you substitute all the values in the equation, the value of T will be 215 seconds. The time required for head to drop from 37.7 centimeter to 30 centimeter is, if you substitute all the values, A is equal to 0.05 or 0.049. Capital L is same, 8.5. Capital A is 15, it's same. K is 3 into 10 raised to minus 5. And H1 is 37.7 centimeter. H2 is 30 centimeter. So if we substitute all the values, T will be equal to 215 seconds. So less time is required compared to the previous case. Okay, is this problem clear? If you're done, if you have completed the problem, please raise your hand. If you have any doubts, you can please ask. Okay, all of you are done with the problem. Okay, the problem is completed. Can I move to next topic? Anyone? Okay, we'll go to the next topic. Okay, we are done with the problems regarding laboratory determination of coefficient of permeability. Okay, please remember there are two tests conducted in lab to determine coefficient of permeability. First test is constant head. It is conducted for coarse grained soil, C for constant, C for coarse grained. The second test is falling head test. So it is conducted for fine grained soils. So F for falling and F for fine. And for falling head test, you can remember this expression. Sorry, K is equal to 2.303 AL divided by 80 log of H1 by H2. This expression is used to find coefficient of permeability. And for constant head, we are using Q is equal to K into I into A. Okay, so we'll move to the next topic. The next topic will be studying design of dam filters. No, filters are provided in the dam, but they should first know why the filters are provided. The filters are provided because of this phenomenon, piping failure. All of we can see the video. There is no problem with audio, right? Okay, so piping failure. When water is stored in the dam, okay, this is the dam, and this is the soil beneath. In dam, it is used for different drinking, it is used for agriculture, sometimes it is even used for industries. So dams are very important, but if the dam has a pervious foundation, meaning the soil can flow beneath, this is my upstream side and this is the downstream side. On the upstream side, the depth of the water is H1. On the downstream side, the depth of the water is H2. The water flows from upstream side to the downstream side because of the difference in the head. Now, when the water flows through the soil, okay, a seepage, a force is applied on the particles of the soil. Okay, now this is called as seepage force, and the pressure is seepage force divided by area, called as seepage pressure. Now, when the water is flowing through the particles, some of the pressure or the force is applied on the particles as well. Okay. So if the pressure is more, these particles will get displaced. So if the particles get displaced, a pipe-like structure is formed, and this is called as piping. Okay. Now let us consider a dam. Okay. At this end, okay, at the exit end, because of the water is seeping from upstream to the downstream. Okay, and at the downstream where the water is exiting, the soil particles may get loose and they will get displaced. So the soil particles starts getting displaced from the downstream end, and this displacement of soil particle continues up to upstream end, and a pipe-like structure is formed beneath the foundation, and this pipe-like structure, it may lead to the settlement of the dam above the pervious foundation. So piping is a very dangerous phenomenon leading to failure of the dams. Now there are two types of piping failure: backward erosion piping failure and heave piping failure. We just now saw what is backward erosion piping failure. Now in backward erosion piping failure, okay, the piping starts at the backward end, that is at the downstream end, because the exit gradient or the exit pressure is high. Okay, the particles here, they are going to get displaced, and slowly this displacement, okay, it goes it continues up to the upstream end. And also, as the displacement continues, as the piping is formed, the length is going to reduce, and because the length is going to reduce, the hydraulic gradient is going to increase. Now, as the hydraulic gradient increases, this piping or the pressure is going to increase, leading to more piping. So the length goes on increasing, the length goes on decreases. This decrease in length leads to increase in hydraulic pressure or hydraulic gradient, and this hydraulic gradient further leads to more piping. And after the complete piping, the soil is going to settle, and whatever structure lies above the soil, okay, that also fails. So so always the exit gradient, it shouldn't be lower piping occurs when the exit gradient is more than critical hydraulic gradient. So exit gradient must be kept less than critical hydraulic gradient. What is the critical hydraulic gradient? We'll learn in next class. Okay. So please remember, the exit gradient must always be less than critical hydraulic gradient. Now, if you consider this flow field at the last, okay, the last flow field, the exit gradient is given by dH by dL. Now this dH by dL must always be less than critical gradient to avoid piping. So critical hydraulic gradient is the case in which, okay, when seepage is occurring in upward direction, okay, seepage forces are acting vertically upwards. Okay, only the weight of the soil particles are counteracting the seepage force. So when the seepage force is more than the weight of the soil particles, then the soil particles will get misplaced. If the weight of the soil particles is more, then there is no piping. So when seepage force is more than the weight of the particles, okay, this black arrow mark, they indicate weight of the soil particles. Yellow arrow mark indicates seepage force. So when weight is equal to force, then soil loses all its shear strength. Okay, the soil acts as liquid. Okay, because the weight is equally counteracted by the seepage force. So if the exit gradient is less than critical hydraulic gradient, there will be no piping. That's why, okay, here the exit gradient is kept 6 times less than critical hydraulic gradient. All of you know what is factor of safety. You have learned it in your RCC. So if critical hydraulic gradient is 100, then our exit gradient must be 6 times less than 100. So factor of safety is 6. In RCC, you are using a factor of safety of 1.5. Here, to avoid the piping failure, you are assuming a factor of safety of 6. So exit gradient must be 6 times smaller than critical hydraulic gradient to avoid failure. So there is a high factor of safety. So in an earthen dam, if the dam is constructed using soil, okay, so the piping may occur through the body of the earthen dam. The piping we saw earlier was beneath the dam. So if in earthen dam, the piping may occur through the body of the dam also. When okay, so how to prevent these failures? The first way is to increase the path of the, so to prevent the piping failure, there are many methods. First is to increase the path of the flow. Exit gradient is h divided by L. So if you are increasing L, then you are decreasing gradient. So if you decrease the length, if you increase the length, you are decreasing the gradient. So you have to make sure that the length of the flow is more. Now, how to make sure that the length of the flow is more? By there are some methods to increase the length of the flow. One is by increasing the base width of the dam. You can increase the length of the flow. Next, we can construct a vertical cutoff. That is, you can insert a sheet pile. If you insert a vertical cutoff, it will increase the length of the flow. The third is if you are providing an apron here, then also an impervious layer, it can increase the length of the flow. The next is by reducing the seepage. Now you can reduce the seepage through the body of the dam. If the piping is occurring is happening in the body of the dam, you can reduce the seepage by constructing an impervious core that will reduce the seepage, or you can reduce the seepage by providing a dam filter. So the dam filter, it is similar to your filter provided in the rainwater harvesting. Okay, so that when you provide the filter, the seeping water gets collected in the filter and it is dispersed off safely without any piping. So you have to provide filters in the dam to avoid piping in the body of the dam. Also, you can provide filters on the downstream end so that the exit gradient, it gets decreased. Now, how the exit gradient gets decreased when you are providing filter at the downstream end? Because of the weight of the filter. Now, seepage force is counteracted by the weight. So if you are increasing the weight, then you are increasing the you are decreasing the hydraulic gradient. So factor of safety gets increased if the weight is more, so that weight can easily counteract the seepage force. You can see weight of the soil particles plus weight of the filter will counteract the seepage pressure. So you can provide a loaded filter at the downstream end. So you have to provide filter to avoid failures. Now, how these filters are designed, we'll see in the next class. Okay, it is what are the criteria based on which the filters are designed. This video I'll be uploading it in the files. You can go through the files, go to Teams, and in files, the different animation videos used in my lectures are there. I'll upload this video too. You can refer the video to understand what is piping. So that's it for today's class. Now, how the filters must be designed, what are the different criterias to design the filter, we'll see in the next class. But please remember, filters are provided to avoid piping failure in the dams. Any doubts